Hello and welcome back to the Ram Show here on TechBeam. It is September 10th, 2017. My name is Carlos. I've got Zach here with me in just a second. Now you can talk, Zach.
Hold on, I gotta get the stories up. Jeez.
Well, this is just the intro for the show, so you still got time.
Oh yeah, I know I do.
This is typical. We're not prepared. But you know what else is new, right, Zach?
Nothing is new.
Okay, so I gotta tell you about this in a second. I don't know how the audio and my, the video are synced up. They look really off again this week for whatever reason. I'm guessing it's because I have a really crummy graphics card and, not a ton of RAM in this computer, so. Anyway, so that's a thing. I got a new router, Zach.
You did, huh?
Yes. Still
Not
10,
bad.
still 10100. It is not gigabit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's not gigabit. It's 10100 still.
It's not gigabit. Oh,
But
come on.
my router now has an Intel Pentium dual core processor in it.
Your router does say?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I understand. I understand.
So
Your
yeah,
router is a repurposed PC, isn't it?
yes, it's a PF box now.
Ah.
So, I have an Intel Pentium dual core processor in my router, which is way overkill, but it's cool.
I mean,
So,
that tends to happen when you repurpose a PC for the job.
well, so I was gonna take the old computer that I used to do the 13-year-old Dell PC that I had, right? I'm pretty sure. Like I
Yeah.
said, I've said many times before. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that thing is just
that
dead.
pile of junk. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's just dead. Like, I think the motherboard is toast or whatever because it doesn't even post anymore. So, anyway, I wanted to do this whole PF box thing because I'm like really getting into networking now. In fact, my whole entire network is subnetted.
Well, aren't you fancy?
Yeah, it's a /22 now. So like all the routers are on one subnet. Everything that has a static IP address is on a subnet, and then everything that gets an address through DHCP is on a separate subnet. So I
So did you
keep.
just do that for the heck of it, or did you have an actual reason for it?
No, I did it for the heck of it, and like now I can actually keep things separated and stuff like that. So I can actually find things on my network, even though I could already do that with static IP addresses, but. Yeah, it was for the heck of it and just to kind of learn how it works and stuff like that. By the way, subnets are a lot easier than I thought they were. They used to be like super like I didn't understand them, and then I finally like did it, and I was like, oh, well that's really simple.
I think there's a moment when that just clicks, and I don't think I've reached that moment yet.
For subnets?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, and this is where I was really confused too. So I have a slash.
I get the gist of it. Don't worry.
Well, okay, so I have a /22. This will make this will make a lot of sense to you after I explain it, and then you're gonna be like, really? That's all it was? Because that's what mine was too. So I have a /22. So basically, what it means is, and I have a 172.31.0.0. So that's my starting pool, and of course that's the gateway, so you can't use that. The router is 172.31.0.1, so obviously you can't use that IP address. But with the /22, it now means that I have an IP range from 172.31.0.0 to 172.31.3.255. So that's what subnetting does. So basically, once it hits 172.31, or even like in this scenario, 192.168.1.255, the next IP address, it just rolls over to 192.168.2.0. And then just keeps going. Does it make sense now?
Right. Not really.
So basically, it basically moves where the network and the what is it? There's the network part of the address, and then there's the I don't remember what the other one is, but basically, yeah.
Okay, granted, it's been like 4 months since I did this stuff.
Basically, when you subnet a network, though, it just gives you more IP addresses. That's all it does.
Yeah, I know that much.
So it hits, it hits the last address, which is 255, and then it rolls over. So, kind of like an odometer or whatever. So 255 in like the 0 IP range, and then the next IP address is 1.0, and then 1.2, 1. Or 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So it just keeps moving over. Anyway, so but yeah, so anyway, so wanting to build a PSense router because it was something that I wanted to do at some point. I went over to the pawn shop the other day and just was looking at the computers that they had, and they had some older things, for like in the $100 range or whatever like that. And I'm like, I really don't want to spend $100. So I'm looking around and I come across this old Gateway PC. There's a name you haven't heard for a while.
What for a while? You cut there.
Oh, Gateway?
At least for me. Gateway.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So this is a Windows Vista era box. And
who even bought Gateway? Somebody bought Gateway, didn't they? I forget who it was.
I think they're
Some
like
company bought Gateway.
Yeah, I was looking. I
was
think
it like HP or Dell or something?
I think HP owned them for a while, but now I think Acer owns them.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
I knew somebody bought.
Oh, it's
I just
Acer.
remember who.
I think they merged with like E-Machines, and then like Acer bought them. I think is what I read on their website, because it was like, wait, does Gateway still exist?
But not as their own entity. They don't. I guess.
I don't think so. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because they still sell like computers that are branded Gateway, I guess.
Well,
I didn't know.
but they're owned by someone else.
Well, that's how most companies are. And everything. Like, Pepsi actually owns Frito-Lay. Or Frito-Lay owns... No, Pepsi owns Frito-Lay. That's what it is. But so anyway, so I'm looking at this computer, right? And what drew me to it was the fact that it had a $55 price tag on it. Well,
couldn't you just repurpose a box you had?
I didn't have any other boxes available. And I could have used the old laptop, but I'll tell you why that would be a problem in a moment. Anyway,
I think I know why that would be a problem. Because it doesn't have enough Ethernet ports.
Yeah, exactly, because you need one for the LAN, you need one for the WAN. And I had the PCI WAN card, and so I figured, with a PCI slot, not PCI Express, but PCI slot, I could just, slap the thing in and call it good. So if I got another one, I could actually upgrade this thing to gigabit at some point when we get there. But anyway, so $55 price tag on it, right? But then I did some digging and I looked at it, and as it hit certain dates, it would the price would drop and stuff like that. So I think it was like 40 some bucks, and then the very last one was like $33, and that was like next month or whatever. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, eh. Oh, and the reason it was so low too was that it had another sticker on it that said runs for 5 minutes then shuts down.
What?
Yeah, runs for 5 minutes then shuts down. So I'm looking at the thing, and I'm like, I think I know what the problem is, and I'll let you take a guess.
I think I got it. It overheats.
Yep. Pretty sure that's what the problem was. So walked up to the counter. I was like, hey, let's talk price. I'll give you $33 right now for this. I'm taking a risk. I'll get it off your shelf. And the lady kind of looked at it. She's like, okay. So paid the lady and walked outside, opened the thing up. It had never been open before because it had like a quality assurance sticker over the back of it that I had to cut to actually take the cover off and everything. But yeah, so the thing had never been open. So I look inside this thing, just covered in dust. It was disgusting.
But, wonder why it's overheating then, huh?
But yeah, I was like,
really makes you think.
And this is why I was like, I'm getting this computer for like 30 some bucks, like $33. I know it only runs for 5 minutes, but I'm like 99% sure I know what the problem is. So got it home, opened it up, sprayed the crap out of it with canned air, took the cooler off, sprayed that out. The power supply looked disgusting, like it had dust all in it and stuff like that. Blew that out. Took the CPU out, cleaned it up, put some new thermal paste on it, put the cooler back on. It's been running fine since.
Wow.
So, except
Ace
for
troubleshooting.
well, so I put it back together, right? And like the there's like a set of pins and stuff like that, but not all of them are used. And so I plugged the power button back in because I didn't exactly remember which ones it came out of, but I was pretty sure. And I'm hitting the power button, it wasn't turning on. I'm like, shit.
You plugged it in wrong, didn't you?
I did, and I just swore on this, which I'm gonna try not to do anymore. Like my one rule.
How could you do this? How could you do this?
Because it's live and I was in the moment, and you know what? Like, okay, I am cool. I have said this in the past before. I am cool with swearing on our channel, except for 2 words, and I just dropped one that I'm like not supposed to use, which is the S word, and then of course dropping an F-bomb. Like any other word really is like fair game, I see. Because like I just follow the FCC rules, and that's kind of what it is in radio. They're like, you can pretty much say any word as long as it doesn't have anything to do with, you know, bodily functions and dropping the F-bomb. Of course, there are other words like racial slurs and stuff like that that we would never say, but that's just kind of common sense. But anyway, so I was like, crap, it's not turning on. So I took the pin out and a little thing out, and I plugged it into another spot and hit the button, and sure enough, it fired up. But I was really confused at first because like the fan on the cooler like spun up like 100%. It was just going. And then like as soon as it like did its post, it like dropped back down to normal. So I was like, oh, okay, well, guess it works. Still loaded with user accounts from the previous owner, all their documents, all their programs, everything was on there. Which really goes to show, you know, it's like, before you take your computer someplace, like, make sure you wipe your data off of it. Even though, you know, most people don't understand how that works.
Like, come on, if you're going to sell it, just deban the hard drive first.
But again, people don't understand that concept. And even if they did, again, we've talked about this before. People want to see physical destruction because then it's like, oh, hey, it really is gone.
Well, I mean, a deban run is as good as you're going to get without destroying.
Right, which reminds me that, again, and I've said it before, I still need to find a microwave, but I want to do that video.
Oh, boy.
Oh, come on. You have to admit you're a little excited about this.
It's just the right kind of stupid.
There's going to be a huge, like, disclaimer before the video that's like, do not try this at home. If you do, we are not responsible for anything that may happen.
I'm gonna like stand behind a wall or something while it's happening and just, you know, peek over a little bit. Don't want to get. Don't want anything blowing up in my face, you know?
Exactly, and that's like the thing. Like, I gotta figure out exactly where we're gonna do this because, like, I want an open space where, you know, if something does go bad, like, we have room to like run and like be away from it and stuff like that. So, well, we'll figure out all the logistics at some point. Once we actually have a microwave to do this in, then I'll actually figure out the logistics, because then, you know, it's like, okay, this is how big it is, this is where we can do it, we're gonna like play in the video, so yeah, it'll be thought out, don't worry. At least that portion of it. The rest of the video will be kind of like our typical videos where we really don't plan things out all that well, and we just kind of do it, so. Anyway, so that's my exciting story for the week. So new pfSense router. Oh, and my work, they have like an old HP manageable networking switch that's 10100 that they're never going to use again. So one of the IT guys says that he would give it to me. So that'll be kind of a fun thing to play with. And everything. Maybe set up some VLANs on it or something like that, even though I have no idea what I'm doing with those, so. But
you're not doing anything other than trying it.
Yeah, basically, and I figure this will be a great tool to learn on and stuff like that. And if I mess it up, I can just reset the thing and start over again.
Didn't want that config anyway.
Right? So anyway, it'll be a little bit different because I'm learning on Cisco stuff in school, but I figure the principles are still the same. So you know what, so.
Well, they have to be pretty close, otherwise.
Yeah, right. Well, because they're all standards and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Anyway, last piece of new information before we actually jump into the show. I know we're getting distracted here.
But we always do. This is nothing new.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, so the Ram Show is now on iTunes as a podcast.
What?
Uh-huh.
What the heck?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I set us up. So basically what I'll do, I'll grab the audio afterwards, and then it'll get uploaded to our server, and then some XML data gets transferred, and then it shows up on iTunes, and then you can listen to it. So, yeah.
Oh, gee. I feel like a big shot now.
Right?
Just
well,
kidding.
You know what? I find it, I don't know about you. I doubt you do it, but I enjoy going back and watching the show and listening to the shenanigans that we talk about.
Oh, no way. Don't do this.
I enjoy it. I think it's fun.
I couldn't even listen to myself for 5 minutes just because, like, that weird feeling. Oh, I hear myself. Ugh.
You know what, though?
Couldn't do it.
You know what, though? I've worked in radio. I've heard my voice enough times that, like, I'm
Oh, well, yeah, it's fine for you. You don't give a crap.
I'm used to it, yeah. So, anyway. You know what we should do? And I've talked about this. Like, one of these weeks, I want to have a show where you're here.
You know, I should get a real mic. I've been meaning to do that. Like, and by a real mic, I mean a mod mic, you know, one of those that, like, attach to headphones and it's got, like, a boom in front.
So, like, what I have? Well...
No. But attached to headphones. It's, like, basically a sort of a funky way of turning headphones into a headset. And you can detach them.
Huh, interesting. So you're not looking to do like what I do with like, you know, the mic on the mic arm and stuff like that.
No way.
So speaking of which, hold on.
Too expensive, and I don't want that crap on my desk. I hardly have enough room for all the stuff that's already on my desk.
That is true. So this is, if you can kind of see it, this is the, oh yeah, that's right. You can directly hear it and everyone else can too. I just moved the mic, so sorry about that. But anyway, so it's in the shot. So this is a Electro Voice. Hold on, let me move that back. Sorry. But that is an Electro Voice microphone used for like radio broadcast. So it wasn't as expensive as you may think. I got it used. It was like $150 maybe. So anyway, so yeah. Well, okay, so I had a it's an M Audio. That's what it's called. It's like a USB mic. And that's what I used to use for, like, recording stuff. And then I worked in radio, and then I came back and recorded something at home, and I was like, wow, I can really tell the difference between the mics. So I was like, you know what? Heck, I'm just going to get a regular mic. So, and not a regular mic, but like an actual broadcast quality one. And it's something I had wanted to do anyways. So, yeah, I have that now. And then a couple weeks ago, I actually just got a from Behringer, like an actual audio interface device, so the audio should sound a little bit better coming into the computer now actually and going out over the stream. So anyway, so that's nice. But let's hop into topics for this week, now that we've, you know, really gone over what we should have for the intro. But anyway, so
that was like 15 minutes. Woo!
That was not 15 minutes. It was 20 minutes, though.
Oh, wow.
Hey, well, you know, Linus and Luke do this all the time, so, you know, what's new? So.
Okay.
Anyway. Hey, you know, people like stuff like that. They like knowing what's going on, so. Anyway, but, they also do enjoy the show as well. So cable providers pushing the new, how do you pronounce this? DOCSIS 3.1, is that what it is? I don't
DOCSIS?
even I don't even really know what DOCSIS is. But they're
I think it's a standard for cable modem.
Okay. And that's kind of what I was thinking. I was figuring it was like something to do with like new standards or something like that. Anyway, they're getting competitive with fiber, boosting average home download speeds in the US to over 67 megabits per second, according to a new report from Ookla Speed Test.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know this. So Ookla is actually owned by Ziff Davis, which is a parent company of PC Mag. So,
Oh.
little
You know what? As long as they're not owned by a cable company, it's probably fine.
yeah, a little trivia for you there. But they looked at 111 million tests over the first half of 2017 and anointed, get this, Comcast Xfinity as the fastest overall ISP in the United States.
Comcast?
Uh-huh. Yeah, beating out
I've heard
Verizon
nothing but bad
Fios
things
by a
about
nose.
Comcast.
Yeah. So I don't know if I actually agree with this, but they say here the key is that cable has actually gotten faster or fast enough to beat fiber.
No.
Right, and that's what I was
That
thinking.
sounds like a load of garbage.
I call a little bull on that. That's just my opinion. But
A little bit. That sounds a little sketchy. I mean, maybe it's getting faster, but unless we're talking about like average speeds of like people with cable and people with fiber, I don't know. Because you have fiber, but you don't have like turbo gigabit fiber. You just have
no, I could
pretty average.
get gigabit if I wanted to, but I think it's like an extra $100 a month or something
Yeah.
like that. So, and nothing inside of my network actually, even though it wouldn't be horrible. See, here's the catch-22 is I don't have a gigabit connection, so I'm not going to upgrade my network.
Something's got to give.
Yes, exactly. So, but on the other hand, like, and this is the thing I have to look at too. Like, so certain devices on my network, like my NAS and stuff like that, my MyBook Live, is only 10100. So until I actually upgrade that, it doesn't make sense for me to upgrade my network because that would be the biggest reason why I would upgrade is to be able to transfer files between the NAS a lot faster, like NAS and devices. So until that gets upgraded, like I said, there's really no reason for me to upgrade the network. So,
well, see, for me, all my storage is in my PC, so I'm good with whatever's the fastest connection I can plug into my PC.
Which is probably going to be what, M.2?
Wait, what? I'm not. Oh no, I'm talking about network connection.
Oh, network connection.
I mean, actually, PCI Express would be the fastest.
Oh, is it even over M.2?
Like my motherboard supports M.2, but it doesn't support PCI Express over M.2. So it's either a PCI Express slot or bust.
And then, of course, what? SATA's after
Modern
that.
motherboards obviously will mostly support that, but this is the 97 board. It's a little.
Yeah, so what do you get after that? Then SATA? So SATA's at the bottom then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, if we go back even further, IDE, which doesn't, I think, even exist anymore.
Well, I'm sure it exists. I'm sure you could buy a PCI Express card that has it on it, but...
That's true. Yeah.
Unless you had some super old hard drive that you just didn't want to move stuff off of.
I love our first video ever. That's a fabulous IDE hard drive that you have there.
Wasn't it really loud? No. Yeah. The disk drive was really loud.
Yeah, the disk drive was really loud.
Oh.
Yeah, I even put up the camera to the thing, and you could actually hear it in the video.
Hear it.
Oh yeah. So this says Xfinity also leads the ISP pack when it comes to consistently providing acceptable speeds that don't slow down too much during busy times. Assuming they're not throttling you, which they probably are. Come on, let's admit it.
I mean,
You know what? Let's do this. Let's take a look at the graphic real quick here. So this is the speed score nationwide for the first half of 2017. So quarter 1 and quarter 2. And Xfinity is at the top. Below that is Verizon Fios, Cox, Spectrum, AT&T, Frontier, and then CenturyLink is at the bottom. No surprise there. Uh, let's see. So Xfinity is ahead when it comes to consistently providing fixed broadband service that's fast enough for common use. Well, okay, when we say common use, or when they say common use, like, well, what do most people do? Browse Facebook and
I
maybe
think
watch videos on YouTube?
I think in this case we're talking about common use from the perspective of of our side. Like, hey, we want enough bandwidth to do a bunch of different things
Yeah, but how many
at
people
the same
actually don't
time.
understand like the whole bandwidth thing and just don't care because they don't understand it?
Or maybe I should rephrase that. What I mean is I don't think common use in this case is what cable companies would call common or common. Because, a cable company is probably like, oh, 10 megabits is fine. Ooh.
Well, okay, but again, let's be fair here. The average consumer is going to say 10 megs. Yeah, that's good enough. Because again, they don't really
I
understand like,
suppose, yeah, you're probably right. If I can browse Facebook, there's not a problem.
yeah, if I can browse Facebook, watch Netflix,
Uh,
and like do face or and YouTube, like, that's pretty much all people want. So
I might have trouble doing all those things at the same time.
yeah, and like you've said in the past before, isn't cable really bad at multitasking?
I mean, relative to like gigabit fiber, yeah, of course it is, because
Well,
you
obviously,
don't
the
have
more
as much
bandwidth you
speed there.
have,
The more speed you have, the more you can do at the same time.
yeah, that's
Pretty
true.
simple.
That is true.
But
Uh,
I guess given the same speed, it's probably there's no difference really.
yeah, that's probably
If
true.
you had
Actually,
100 megabits on both, it's like, well, okay, 100 megabits is 100 megabits, no matter what platform you have.
yeah, I think actually
Or
I could
I guess probably
upgrade.
the wrong word. No matter what kind of cable carries it,
Yeah, I
fiber
probably
optic,
could actually upgrade
copper.
to. I don't remember what the pricing was. It might be like an extra $20 a month to get like 100 down and like 50 up. I think is what it was. I had a pamphlet around here at one point in time that actually had all the prices.
Fiber is still way more future proof, though.
Yeah, definitely it is. It's amazing how much more like stuff we can transfer over. What I think you can transfer like 80,000 calls over just one little fiber line or something like that.
Well, not only that, but when they lay fiber, they lay more than they need. Because then, in the future, you can just turn on that dormant fiber and you got
Uh,
right there.
I heard you got and then you dropped.
Hello? You got me now?
I've got you now.
Okay, well, then if they need to, upgrade their line, I suppose, you just turn on that dormant fiber and you got more bandwidth.
Yeah, exactly. So nationwide results are more about bragging rights than anything else, though, because most Americans don't have a broad selection of ISPs, which is true. So
Yep.
Ookla has also broken
Unfortunate.
down the fastest ISPs for 100 different metro areas. So let's see here. Now, okay, this says, and this makes sense here, to me at least, and we'll see if it makes sense to you. In their results, you can see clearly see that where there's a smaller local competitor like myself, where I have a local co-op, the speeds were actually faster.
Yeah. Funny how that works. When the big cable companies have some competition, they deliver better quality so that their customers don't go to the competitor.
Well, okay, this says local competitors are often the one to go with, and what I think they're saying
And
is
they,
that,
even though they usually are better, yeah.
well, yeah, the local co-ops like have better speeds because if I look at Mediacom in this area compared to what I have, like I have fiber to my house, and I get what 50 down, 20 up. If you're sitting over
Well, you
on
have the
Mediacom,
capacity to get a lot more if you were willing to pay for it.
yeah, exactly, and that's the thing.
Mediacom can't say the same because it's cable.
Although I did have
I
somebody
think what
call
the
me.
fastest you can have is, I mean, I guess it depends, but
Well, I had somebody call me, like, I think this was even sometime last year, actually. Or no, it wasn't
really,
sometime last year. It had to be about like 6 months ago or something like that, from like Mediacom, like asking us They specifically wanted to talk to me for whatever reason, but they were like, "Hi, I'm from MediaCom, and we now have a gigabit connection and stuff like that." And I guess, and I kind of laughed at the guy, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're happy with what we've got." I didn't have the heart to tell him we have fiber to our house.
Perhaps he knew he had fiber. I bet he did.
I don't know. So, but like, I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, why the hell would I switch over to copper on MediaCom when I have fiber to my house right now?
Well,
Like,
yeah, that's a pretty good question. Why would I want to buy an inferior connection?
right? Yeah, like, no. Anyway. So I guess Google Fiber torched the competition in Atlanta, Austin, Charlotte, Kansas City, and Raleigh. And its WebPass product won in Miami and Oakland, California. Google Fiber actually interests me a little bit. As they expand, do you see Google Fiber becoming like a giant ISP and maybe even knocking out some of the big competitors right now?
Oh, I'm sure they won't knock out the big names, but they'll at least make the big names pay attention.
Actually, yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, other small competitors, including Sonic Internet in San Francisco, Wave G in Seattle, and Buckeye Cable Systems in Toledo, also took their cities. Now, Ookla results are Ookla's. I don't know actually how you pronounce that. Results differed from, I guess, what is this? From PC Magazine's fastest ISP study, because it used a different threshold for which providers to consider. Now, the top providers for, I guess, PC Magazine were Hotwire and Suddenlink, both of which Ookla kicked out of its rankings, judging them to be too small. After that, they have Verizon Fios and Xfinity locked into a top two battle, just as Ookla does as well. So, let's see, anything else interesting in here? Ookla confirmed privately that where Google Fiber is listed as the fastest, it is in fact the fastest. Let's see. Cable companies are upgrading, but it's those smaller providers that offer Americans hope. Ookla speaks well of DOCSIS 3.1, which is helping cable providers deal with steadily greater amounts of streaming video demand and widening their pipes, which they say we'll see more of those roll out this year. It's clear that when you have an option that's not one of the big default cable companies, it's often the best option. Regardless,
yeah, that should be a no-brainer, really.
But they say, regardless, the future of fixed broadband in the U.S. is bright and fast. So, and I would agree on that. If you have these smaller companies starting to pop up that are providing a lot faster services, it's going to get, hopefully, the attention of the bigger, ISPs, and they're going to be like, we should probably, increase our speeds.
Anything that makes them sweat is probably good for us.
Right, yes. So, anyway, no, being here with the fiber at my house already and, knowing that I have the option to upgrade to a gig if I want to, I am completely happy with my internet right now. So.
I'd be too if I were you.
Yeah, you would, and any chance I get to do this, I love getting to rub the fact that I have fiber to my house in your face.
Well, that's just literally just luck, really. It's like
it is.
You throw a dart at a map of the country, and it's just like a dice roll. Will I get fiber? Will I not get fiber?
No. A lot of these small co-op companies like WCTA in Forest City, there's some other ones too. Like, these smaller co-ops are starting to run fiber to people's houses.
Well, yeah, but a lot of places don't even have those co-ops.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's why I say that.
Okay, yeah, that's true. But anyway, I still remember the reaction that I got out of you when I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I have fiber to my house," and you just kind of looked at me like, "What? You have fiber?" Which I thought was hilarious, and then you,
Oh, of course you did.
and then you quickly turned it around on me and were like, "You're not even using it to its full potential, though."
Yeah, no kidding. Where's the gigabit?
Okay, again, do you have, what, an extra $100, to spend every month for a gigabit connection?
Oh, I'd find a way.
Yeah, actually, you probably would. But anyway, this is why if this TechBeam thing ever takes off, like, one big consideration to wherever we're going to build, we have to have at least a gigabit connection into the building.
I don't think we'll ever have to worry about that.
What? Because the channel will never get that big?
No.
Wow, way to be optimistic, dude.
Prefer to call it realistic, don't you think?
Well, okay, but you have to remember that TechBeam Media, as itself, because we could decide to all do this together too, is like the YouTube portion of TechBeam Media is only one side of it. Like the real income would come from doing video production work, and the tech services portion.
That's all you, though.
Well,
or at least the understanding of that is all for you.
I'm video production. You would probably head, because I would be trying to do the whole entire thing. So I would probably put you in charge of more of the tech services side of things, where companies and individuals would contract us out to do certain things for them, like setting up networking and fixing computers and building custom stuff and things like that. So
I just build custom stuff all day. I'd do that. I'd love to do that.
I know you would. So, it's something to think about, maybe, starting a business.
Oh, boy.
But, you never know. Anyway, this thing looks kind of cool. Crowdfunded privacy platform eBlocker is launching a cheaper bare-bones version of its plug-and-play service that promises to kibosh ad trackers at the network level.
So probably like a DNS server, isn't it?
I don't know exactly. Basically, you plug this little tiny box into your network, and it blocks ads. Now, I guess there's different tiers. So, like, there's, like, a free option, and then you have paid options as well.
Subscription fees? Ugh. You can do this for free if you just have a spare toaster.
Yeah.
And by toaster, I mean a garbage PC that you don't really need anymore.
Well, okay, so let me ask you about something real quick here. I don't know how much you'll know. So, here's my dilemma, right? So, with the pfSense box in place, I could integrate it into a VPN. So I would have network, anything on the network would go through a VPN on the way out through the pfSense box and everything. Here's my problem here's my problem with that. So I could use something like OpenVPN or something like that. I think is one of the options. Here's my problem with that. At some point, I'm thinking about possibly getting a static IP address to the house.
Yeah, so then you're thinking you'd be able to remote it in from elsewhere?
Yeah, so I would have my own VPN as well, so I could access all my stuff and everything. So here's my problem. Does that work still with a VPN in place, so obstructing my... Like, how does that work?
Does what work?
Well, okay, so, like, wouldn't it kind of...
You're going to say it again, you cut out.
Okay, wouldn't it defeat the purpose? Wouldn't having a static IP address defeat the purpose of then having a VPN server in place to block where the network traffic is coming from?
I don't think so.
Or would having a static IP address allow me to get back into, because obviously that address isn't going to move, so that I can get back into my network from outside?
Yeah, because you know the address.
So, okay, so all the traffic then coming out would then go through another VPN
If you're looking for anonymity, like, it won't matter that the IP that it's the static IP
Because the traffic
it
going
still gets
out.
masked before going to wherever its destination is. But you can go back to that address because you know what the address is.
Okay, so that's what I was thinking. I was
If that
like,
makes any sense.
well, okay, so let me get this straight. So any traffic coming in from the outside goes through that IP address, which I specifically know.
Well,
Anything
it goes
coming
through the
out.
VPN first because
Okay.
you're connected to
So
the
all the traffic
VPN.
goes through the VPN.
Oh, yeah, it would because
So traffic going out goes through the VPN, it gets changed, and even though I still have a static IP address, it doesn't matter. Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, even though it's going through a VPN, does it really matter? Because there's still a static IP address in there. But anyway, I don't know.
I'm not super. I don't really know a ton about VPNs.
And that's why I said I don't know what you like. I don't know if you actually know like completely. But like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, so does it even matter then? Like, would it actually like make a difference to have a VPN in place anyways if you just have a static IP address? So I don't know. Anyway, so I enjoy my privacy.
I'm not sure about the details, but I'm fairly certain it will do what you want.
Yeah, like I am not super concerned with like certain things like I am, but for some reason like like Microsoft spying on what I'm doing on my computer. I don't really like that. But like where I go on the internet through my ISP, for some reason that just doesn't seem to bother me as much as it probably should. So
I mean, I guess it. I don't know.
I would like to think that my local co-op doesn't do that, but you never know.
Yeah, I guess you never know.
Anyway, so this little box thing is due to go on sale for $99. Let's see. It's cheaper than the two options currently available: the Pro, which is $219, and the Family, that's $249. And then it comes with a subscription after the first year. Now, like
Why a subscription though? Ugh, that's kind of lame.
well, you got to think
It's already kind of expensive for what it does.
Yeah, but well, I think when you how does it work? Despite this IP obfuscation, what lies at the heart of the eBlocker offering is a promise to Fox ad trackers at the network level without slowing down your connection.
Which is good.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. You can buy eBlocker Base on the cheap, and then 3 months later sign up for Pro, which is $59 a year, or the Family option, which is $99 a year. Let's see. So if you cancel, you get the basic tracker blocking function. Though by subscribing, you'll get regular updates to keep you one step ahead of any changing tracking companies that might roll out to be eBlocker. So basically what you're paying for is like an update service.
Yeah, I figured.
So it's like the difference between having like a paid subscription to AVG and having a free subscription or
See,
free
the
option of AVG.
The issue I have with that is that it probably wouldn't be very difficult to just update it yourself. And by update it yourself, I mean have a device like this that just is subscribed to a blocking list that already exists and is maintained by people for free.
So I guess the way this works, and I read in here, it doesn't block all ads. It blocks like the ones that actually like track you.
Oh, yeah, I definitely wouldn't buy this anymore.
So, but you can like go in and you can set up like whitelist and blacklist and stuff like that, I guess, on it. So, I think it's an interesting thing. I don't know how many people will buy it, but like again, think of it. We think of things more from a tech side. So when you say updating list of things in it, it wouldn't be that hard. Well, yeah, because we're techie. But think about the average consumer who's
I mean, I get what you mean. Like this is an average consumer's product.
Yeah.
Because somebody who knows what they're doing can totally do this for way cheaper and without paying a subscription. I guess that's what happens when you know what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. And that's anything, I think. So.
Well, yeah, again, anything.
But I think it looks kind of cool. Let me show the back.
It's a decent idea.
Right?
No doubt
Yeah.
about that.
So, so this is what the back of it looks like. I actually don't know. So, obviously you've got power, so it's powered. You've got a LAN connection in, so
What's the
Ethernet in.
HDMI for, I wonder?
Yeah, what's the HDMI and what are the USBs for? That's what I was wondering.
And I guess the USBs could be to like, well, I mean, is this like a, is this a, is this supposed to be like a home router as well?
I don't know.
Because if it is, that would explain the USB ports. A lot of routers have those.
That's true, but it
So you
still
can
doesn't.
attach like storage devices and things like that to it.
Yeah, exactly, but it still doesn't explain the HDMI, which I don't understand.
Yeah, it still doesn't explain that. I don't know.
And I didn't see anything in the article about why it has those in it at all. At least I don't think I did. So yeah, I'm not quite sure why it has those, but yeah. So, unless it's for like configuration of it or something like that, maybe. Although, wouldn't you have a web interface to do that with?
Yeah, can't really. I mean, maybe they. Yeah, I
Let's
guess
see.
I'm stumped there. I don't know.
Yeah, let me just look through. Let's see. So this says you'll know when it's working because when you browse the web, you'll see a small orange E blocker logo occupying the top right of your browser window. Let's see here. So this actually does have somewhat of a VPN service inside of it, I guess. It opens up when you click on it. It opens up a toolbar which allows you to
it looks like
anonymize your
something that you
connection.
can plug a VPN into, kind of like if you have a subscription to a VPN or a free one that you like to use, you can just
Yeah,
kind of
like
plug
Tor
it
or
in.
VPN of your choice. So you can make it look as if you're accessing it, through another country, which is what VPNs do. Let's see. So it is applied to the whole network. It also routes traffic from specific devices like your smart TV or game console to certain territories, which save you from having to manually enter DNS codes. But I would imagine it does that on the network side of things, not on. Well, that might be what the USBs are for. So that would explain those. I still don't know what that HDMI port is for on the back of it, though.
Not a clue,
Yeah, no idea.
but it's really obvious.
Right? Yeah, I have no idea what that is for at all. But anyway, so all right, well, let's move on here. We'll get into our Microsoft news now. Now, normally on the show each week, we try to poke fun at Microsoft. Because they didn't really do anything, shall we say, dumb this week, I had to pick something else. And
That's unfortunate.
yeah, you know what? We give Microsoft crap a lot on this show, and we love doing it. But I do have to praise Microsoft this week.
Yeah, fine.
So I do hate bringing politics into this show because that's not what the show is about. But
Politics suck anyway.
yeah, that's true. But you know what? I think this is bigger than politics, though. So how much do you know about DACA, Zach?
What?
Or DACA?
Nope, nothing. Never even heard of it.
Well, it's because you're misinformed and you don't pay attention to the news. So,
most of the time it's not even worth watching.
well, okay, so I think it's DACA.
I wouldn't call it misinformed. I just only, follow the things that I care about.
Well, okay, so DACA stands for the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program, or Childhood Arrivals Program. Basically, what it does is it protects, so people who have immigrated to this country with young children illegally, it basically protects the children by allowing them to stay in the country and, get jobs and do stuff like that. Anyway, so ruling was passed, I think either earlier this week or last week, where the program is being taken away. And now Congress has like 6 months to figure out what they're going to do, basically. But anyway, Microsoft will cover legal fees for employees who face deportation after the end of the Dreamers immigration program, the company says. Brad Smith, Microsoft's president and chief legal officer, made the promise in a statement condemning Trump's decision to end DACA, something Smith called a big step back for our entire country. So Smith says Microsoft employs 39 employees that are known to be protected by DACA, and that if Dreamers who are our employees are in court, we will be by their side. That includes providing paid legal counsel, filing a, amicus brief. I think that's how that's
whatever
pronounced.
that is.
Yeah, on behalf of the employee and seeking ways to directly intervene. Microsoft will also work as needed with other companies and the broader business community to vigorously defend the legal rights of all Dreamers through Smith, Dreamers, although Smith provides few specifics here. Now, Smith asked Congress to pass a DACA replacement over the next 6 months. Like I said, they have 6 months to actually come up with something. But basically, here's the thing. So, with this whole program going away, and if Congress doesn't figure something out in 6 months, basically there are going to be a lot of people who have been in this country since they were, babies, basically, or children, and like have grown up here, have gone to school here, have jobs here. Like, this is all they know. Like, they could be facing deportation. So this is a big thing.
Yeah, that sounds kind of silly, but whatever. Hopefully they turn it around, I guess. I mean, the whole decision to just deport them, like, they've been here all this time and made lives for themselves, and you're just going to kick them out? Because their parents brought them here probably without them even knowing what was going on.
Exactly. And this is why this is such a big deal right now. So, and this is one of the reasons why, this is the big thing that's going on right now. It's not really tech news, but I wanted to put it in here. Just, like I said, we give Microsoft a lot of crap, but I'm praising them on this. I think this is a really good thing that they're doing.
Wow, Microsoft would shell out for this? What?
Like I said, it's a big deal. Some like 80,000, I think it's 80 or 88,000 people, could be facing deportation.
Well, whatever their reasons are, good for them, I guess.
800,000 people.
Maybe clarify Microsoft's. Whatever Microsoft's reasons are, good for them.
Yeah, 800,000 people, excuse me, could be, facing deportation. Now, last week, Microsoft was one of the hundreds of tech companies to sign a letter calling for legislation. Passing a bill to protect Dreamers would make the question of legal action moot. Smith says Microsoft is prepared for the possibility that Congress won't do it. Congress is controlled right now by there's a Republican majority. The president's a Republican, so... but yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope that this all gets figured out, because this is going to be a huge mess if it doesn't. So, anyway. But, so that's the Microsoft news for this week. Praise to them. And, yeah, that's about all I have for Microsoft this week, unfortunately, Zach, so...
Wow. No bashing? Shame.
Like I said, we give them a lot of crap every week, but I think it's important every now and then to, look at it and praise them for the good things.
Microsoft.
To praise them for the good things that they have been doing. And like I said, I'm really happy that they're stepping up and doing this. Microsoft has, I think, 39 people that are being protected by DACA right now. So, or DACA. DACA. It's one or the other pronounced. Actually, I think I've heard it both ways, but anyway. So, I guess the other thing in Microsoft news this week is like, they're getting ready to unveil like some new product or Surface at like in London or something like that. So yeah, which I could be wrong on that, but anyway. So, let's move on to our next topic for this week. According to Torrent Freak, a proposed final judgment has been reached between audio ripping site YouTubeMP3.org and a collection of record labels including UMG, Sony Music, and Warner Bros. Although the document has not yet been signed by a judge, it indicates a decision in favor of the labels with an undisclosed settlement fee and an order to transfer the domain to a party representing the labels. Basically, they are getting their asses sued off.
Of course. This is why we can't have nice things.
You know what? So, audio ripping and stuff like that has been a huge issue. The RIAA called it the world's largest audio ripping website, and labels filed a copyright infringement claim against the site last year, saying it was responsible for upwards of 40% of all illegal audio ripping. That's a lot. According to a 2016 study by the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry, IFPI, audio ripping is one of the most significant forms of piracy facing the recording industry, with almost half of 16 to 24-year-olds using a service like YouTube MP3, YouTubeMP3.org. So, yeah. Your thoughts on this, Zach?
These people make millions, and they really have to care about this? Come on.
You know what? Yeah, they do make millions, but how much, like, think about this. How much money do they lose? I don't know what the figure is. How much money do they lose?
I think the better question is to ask is, if it weren't for these sites, how many of their users would actually go and buy things? I think a lot of people who use those sites would probably just quit downloading music if they didn't exist.
But see, here's the problem. They're ripping the music, so they're not paying for it.
But what I'm saying is if these ripping services did not exist, they probably wouldn't just go out and pay. They'd probably just stop listening, or they'd find a way to stream it for free or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
Use something else. They probably wouldn't put money in the pockets of these people.
Well, okay, I see your point there, but either way, they're not putting money in anyways. That's what the record companies are saying.
Right. Yeah.
So
well, what I mean is, it's not completely fair to say that this is how much money we're losing solely because this is how many people are using.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Because it's not like all of those people would immediately start paying these companies if this service didn't exist.
Well, no, of course not. You know, anytime you can find something for free, you're going to figure out how to do it. So, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are.
Like it's like one of those cases where, you know, some country says, okay, you know, ISPs in this country now have to block pirate sites like Pirate Bay, whatever. And everybody hears about this and they're like, that exists? I'm going to go look for that. And then they start looking for it and they bypass blocking and they start pirating. So, you know, piracy goes up, just companies getting legislation put in place that says it has to be blocked. It's really weird, but it's been observed to happen when sites like Pirate Bay end up getting blocked by countries. Piracy goes up.
Yeah, you keep cutting in and out, like...
Really bad? How bad is it?
Well, like, in between words, I guess I would say, so...
I don't know. Well, what all did you miss?
No, wait, like, I caught it all, but, like, okay. It was just, like, Good in enough. Between words you would, like, drop out, Let
me do something fast.
So, when you were saying, like, you know, things being blocked in other countries...
I unplugged it and plugged it back in.
Okay. When you were saying, like, things being plugged, or not plugged, blocked in other countries, I think I read somewhere about that ad tracker thing, like, being, like, or some VPN thing like not being allowed in China or something like that.
Yeah, China doesn't like VPNs.
Oh, it's already de facto banned in Russia and China, where
Yeah, Russia
anonymizing
doesn't like
tools
them
like
either. I
VPN.
forgot about that.
Yeah, anonymizing tools like VPNs are actually illegal.
That is ridiculous. That is so
You know
ridiculous,
what?
honestly.
It's a different culture.
It's a different culture. More like they just want to know what you're doing and they want you to not be able to hide what you're doing.
Well, I don't know
Because
about
no, there are no such legitimate uses for VPNs, right?
I don't know
No,
about
bad.
I don't know about Russia, but I know China. They block like if you search for certain things, like they just don't exist.
Yeah, the Great Firewall of China.
Yeah.
And, they ban VPNs because VPNs can be used to bypass them.
I don't know how well you did in history or how much history you remember. I don't remember the exact like thing it was called, but like wasn't there like some standoff in like China with like some guy in a tank or something like that?
Something, something square that starts with a T and that I could never pronounce.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so like I guess if you
And it
search for that,
apparently doesn't exist if you search for it in China.
yeah, exactly. Yep, it doesn't exist because they
I
don't
know
want
what you're
people to know
talking about.
about it. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but yeah, they don't want people to know about it, so they blocked it. It just yeah, it's like
That's just like, why? When you block stuff, it only makes people curious. They're like, why would you want to block
But
this
okay,
from
you
me?
have
I
to
kind of
remember
want
the
to know about it.
culture. You have to remember the culture in China. The government controls what people know, so
Well, right, yeah. I mean, it's a
if you
little
don't,
bit more extreme there, but
yeah, but like
like
what I'm,
say here, if some bill was passed and they said, okay, now all ISPs have to block such and such pirate sites. Think about how many people would just go like, huh, what's that? And then they'd go look it up and they'd be like, wait, I can download stuff for free? Snap, I'm gonna go screw
uh,
the government.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, so. Anyway, so back to this. Record companies are claiming that, well, they claim specifically 304 songs that were illegally audio ripped using the service, included songs like Zed's Clarity, Born This Way by Lady Gaga, Missy Elliott's Get Your Freak On. And the complaint sought damages of $150,000 for each instance of proven copyright infringement. 150,000 per
What?
copyright infringement. I feel like that figure is really really high.
Yeah, no kidding.
Arguing that YouTube mp3.org enabled illegal distribution and profited off of label-owned content by collecting ad revenue from redirecting people to its site. The label claims that tens of even hundreds of millions of tracks are illegally copied and distributed by stream ripping services each month. So, yeah, okay, so we talk about them losing money, but I don't think they lose that much money to warrant $150,000.
A lot of people that use these sites probably wouldn't pay for it anyway.
Yeah.
Even if there was no other option but to pay for it, they'd probably just live without it.
Yeah, I think that's a crazy high, like, number, but...
But I mean, I guess you can't exactly prove that there are a large chunk of people who wouldn't normally pay for it anyway. So maybe they're thinking maybe they're creating these numbers as if every instance of infringement is someone who would have paid.
That's possible. The proposed...
Since, I mean, you can't really argue one way or the other with hard numbers. I guess you could.
You
make
could.
a survey or something, but...
Yeah. This says the proposed final judgment and permanent injunction, if signed, would transfer the domain name to a representative for the labels. If the site owners fail to comply, registers for YouTube mp3.org would be ordered to shut down the site within 24 hours and allow for the register of record to be changed within 30 days to a register of the label's choosing. As of now, or YouTube-mp3.org is still alive, still technically alive, or live, but I guess when you try to actually go download something, it says we are sorry the service is not available for your jurisdiction. So,
Unfortunate. It's not like there's a very large number of those sites or anything like that.
I think there's probably more than you think.
There's a lot of them.
One
I'm being
thing,
sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, I totally didn't catch that. Anyway,
there's a lot of them.
One thing that does worry me somewhat, but like with a ton of them being out there, I'm not super worried. Like, so with this show right here, right? So once it gets done and processed and everything, I will go out to a site to literally capture the audio from this stream so that I can download it and then upload it again to our server so that we can deploy it on iTunes for the podcast. So
You don't have a better way of doing that? Can't you just record it? I bet it would be a lot better quality if you were to just record it.
Well, audio is audio for the most part. It'll be compressed a little bit, but not to the point where people really notice it. What I could probably do is
it might be worth something worth changing in the future.
Well, see, my one of my ideas was going to be to basically load up the stream on another computer and then just capture the audio from that. Basically. So, anyway. Because, like, once you start trying to capture audio, like, actually inside the computer and stuff like that, because think about that then. Like, if I'm trying to do it inside of here, at least with what my current system is, like, I have to worry about...
You don't think it'd be able to handle it?
Well, think about it. It has to run Adobe Audition, and we know how Adobe products love RAM and stuff like that. So I'd have to run that, not to mention OBS running in the background, or running, and then we also are doing the streaming too. So yeah, I think the system can barely handle doing the stream itself. So, but yeah, I don't know. My CPU's only running at like what 12% right now. So,
it's awfully low.
Well, yeah, because we're doing all GPU encoding, stuff like that. So,
I forgot you changed that.
Speaking of GPUs, this ties perfectly into our next story here. Gigabyte is on a mission to miniaturize desktop graphics cards after shrinking last year's GeForce GTX 1070 into a mini ITX version. Engadget has spotted that Gigabyte is announcing an equally small GTX 1080. So Gigabyte's GeForce GTX 1080 Mini ITX 8GB is just 6.7 inches long, which is nearly 5 inches shorter than a regular GTX 1080. It's designed to fit inside a mini ITX case for a more portable desktop gaming rig.
It makes sense because first of all, the 1080 doesn't have that much higher a TDP than the 1070, and its TDP is reasonably low, and you could definitely get away with a single fan version of that cooler.
So, well, it looks pretty sweet in the graphic that I'm looking at. So this is 16.9 centimeters. That's all it is. It's got the one fan on there. And, yeah, I think it looks pretty sweet. So,
I wonder if they have to do any binning to identify which chips are more suitable for this type of product where, you're not going to have as much cooling.
I have no
So
idea.
you're going to want a chip that runs a little bit cooler?
Yeah, especially with the one fan on there. Well, I think did it only have one fan before, or did it have two?
No, they usually have two.
Do they?
Well, maybe I should say this. Perhaps they undervolt this thing, and they have to do some binning to find out which chips can actually handle being undervolt, so that it will stay cool. Or perhaps it's just fine. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just fine with no binning at all.
Well,
given that even your average 1080 will run pretty cool.
So this says Gigabyte is using a single 90mm fan for cooling that's paired with 3 copper composite heat pipes. The fan is semi-passive, meaning that it will turn off when the GTX 1080 isn't under a big load. You'll even be able to overclock. So you'll be able to overclock it, Zach.
Of course you will.
Thanks to Gigabyte's own software. So, well, you were talking about like what, lower performance or something? No, not lower performance.
I was talking about binning. If they had to do any binning.
Explain what binning is.
Basically, they test chips and find out which ones are the best.
And then they, put
which ones are most stable at, for example, low voltage or high clock.
So, but like the lower the voltage, like
lower the voltage, less heat. So,
well, yeah, the lower the voltage, less heat. But don't you also take a performance hit?
No, not if it can run at the same clock speeds.
Oh, okay. And that's what I was thinking in my mind. That's why I was like, when I said overclocking, like that's why I threw that in there, because I was thinking that lower voltages meant, less performance, but then you have the overclocking in here too. So,
but you can overclock. Well, oftentimes overclocking includes putting more voltage. Although graphics cards can often be overclocked without even putting more voltage. To a lesser extent than CPUs. CPUs can do the same thing, if you get a good sample or something. You generally won't get quite as much leeway with a stock voltage CPU as you will with a stock voltage graphic. At least, from a lot of numbers that I've seen.
Interesting. So I'm interested to know, since you are the hardware guy, do you think that we are going to start seeing smaller graphics cards, or do you think a lot of companies are just going to keep them the same size?
I don't know. I mean, I don't see the reason, or I don't see any reason we wouldn't see more of these. There's no reason to get rid of the ones we have either. So, I suppose if the GPUs that, if GPU generations now and in the future permit it, these things will come. If they don't, then they just won't.
Well, the benefit to having this smaller stuff is that it fits into the the mini ITX form factor, allowing us to build smaller systems, but still not compromising on the performance and stuff like that.
Really, you shouldn't expect that something like this wouldn't exist on a generation of chips that can fit in laptops.
Yeah, that's true. So,
even all the way up to the top, you can fit these things in laptops. They're not quite as good, but they're almost there. They're really close. They're within like 90% of what a desktop chip is, which is pretty impressive.
Interesting. So let's see. We usually go about an hour and a half or so. So we're a little short, so we'll touch on some of these other topics real quick. And that's about all I have for the show. Honestly, the topics for this week's show, like, they were interesting-ish, but, like, not super interesting. Like, I kind of struggled to come up with topics this week. Like, there wasn't really any, like, big stories. Like, I think probably the biggest story that we had this week, maybe the YouTube ripping site, or, yeah, the YouTube ripping, site thing. But yeah, I just wasn't really all that impressed with the topics that we got for this week, kind of. So anyway, let's go through some of these real quick here. A VR company in San Francisco that goes by the name of Upload is settling a sexual harassment and wrongful termination lawsuit.
What?
Yeah. I guess Elizabeth Scott, who formerly worked for them as the director of digital and social media, said that female colleagues were treated like second-class citizens in corporate conversations, and that managers would repeatedly make comments about the plaintiff's body. The lawsuit claimed that others at the company would consistently discuss a certain employee's sexual exploits, and they also named unfair pay compared to their male colleagues and wrongful termination as other instances of gender discrimination. So,
What the heck?
yeah. It's sad that this stuff still happens in this day and age, but it does. So,
Sheesh.
T-Mobile's family plan bundle. If you've got an unlimited data family plan at T-Mobile, you'll soon be getting free Netflix to go along with it.
I guess that's a nice bonus.
Yeah, the new Netflix on Us perk is T-Mobile's latest attempt to differentiate its service from that of its larger rivals like Verizon Wireless and AT&T. Let's see. I have a graphic here. Let's see. Oh yeah, LTE download. Hang on. There we go. So this has T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T on it. They actually sell T-Mobile as like, what does this say? Unlimited impact. So LTE download megabits per
Hold
second.
on a second. What is this graph? This graph is a load of crap. Look at the proportions on this thing. Why is T-Mobile's bar like twice as high, if not more, than the other two, while only being like 6 or 7 megabits higher? Come on. Those are some NVIDIA graphs right there.
Yeah, T-Mobile points out that the average LTE speeds for Verizon and AT&T have fallen since both companies rivaled or revived unlimited data plans. The funny thing is, though, speeds greater than 20 megabits per second shown. So,
Yeah, but why does it matter what the speeds are when you don't even have true unlimited?
Did you read the bottom?
And by true unlimited, did I read the bottom?
Yeah.
Is there something I missed at the bottom?
Yeah. Speeds greater than 20 megabits per second. Sorry, Sprint.
Sprint's not even on there?
No!
Oh, ouch. Ouch. Woo. Need some ice for that. Man.
I knew you missed it when you were like, wait, what?
I totally missed that. I was just going to rag on them for even daring to mention speeds when you don't get unlimited use of.
Yeah, I guess T-Mobile is positioning this Netflix giveaway as yet more proof that its network is better equipped to provide unlimited data than Verizon and AT&T. And
They're not even providing unlimited, though.
Quote-unquote unlimited. In a move that's been rather unpopular with many customers, Verizon recently altered its unlimited plan and placed limits on its video streaming quality. T-Mobile's default unlimited plan, data plan, also throttles video to 480p resolution. Customers who want to watch in HD must pay more money each month for the T-Mobile One Plus plan. So if you want to stream your free Netflix in high def, T-Mobile says you'll have to upgrade your data plan. So
there has to be a way around that, right?
Is this just a way for them to make more money? Hey, here's free Netflix. Now, if you want to watch it on your unlimited plan in HD, you got to pay us more money.
But there has to be a way around that, right? There has to be. No way there is.
I have no idea. I think it's kind of funny.
Whatever.
Well, yeah, so...
It's all of this crap is just a joke until you can have unlimited, no throttling, ever. Then it might be a little bit more relevant.
It's not gonna happen, though.
Like, it'll happen someday.
For a while. Unfortunately with, the cellular companies, it's not like you have these small local co-ops that can...
Well, the first company to do it's going to get a lot of business.
Yes, and hopefully then that is a wake-up call for these big companies to be like, oh, crap, we need to change our infrastructure and, because, we're seeing it happen now with the small co-ops and, providing, fiber and faster speeds and stuff like that, like we talked about earlier in the show, where, now companies like Verizon and Comcast and them are starting to look at this and be like, oh, hey, we need to compete with these other companies.
Quick, roll out faster speeds in all the areas where these co-ops exist.
Yeah.
And ignore every other area.
Yeah. Let's do it as little as possible, as cheaply as possible, but we still need to make money. So
But we still need to remain relevant in these places.
yeah. So,
Except you're not going to be relevant
yeah.
in those places ever. So long as co-ops exist.
That is true. Well, I wonder how many people still in the. That would actually be an interesting little survey to do.
I mean,
how many
all
people
right,
in
here's
my
the only way
area-
they're going to be relevant is TV packages, because people like TV for some stupid reason. I, for one, hate it. People who
Yeah.
will probably still find themselves with cable companies.
Yeah, I'm still wondering when we're going to see that switch from like actual TV to just like a la carte services kind of thing. You pay for
Well,
the
it's
channels
already
that you
happening,
want.
and cable companies are not happy about it.
You know what? So, okay. So, streaming is an awesome thing, like YouTube, or not YouTube, like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. And
On
everything.
YouTube, too.
Well, okay, yeah, YouTube, but I'm talking like. Well, I guess YouTube does have their paid subscription thing out. Anyway. So, here's my thing with this, though, is that, like, a couple weeks ago, Disney just split off, and they're, like, saying that, like, in 2019, that, like, none of their content is going to be available on Netflix or any other platform. Like, they're starting their own. So,
Oh, boy.
here's my question.
That's
How many
gonna be a
more
joke.
companies are going to start doing this? Because I don't want to have to pay for, you know, a subscription to Hulu to watch certain shows and Netflix to watch certain shows, and then like
I think that's going to be very controversial.
yeah, and then like let's say I had kids who were watching Disney content. Like I don't want to have to pay for 3 different services, you know, to get all this stuff. So
Get out of here with that.
with that being said, like that whole like TV thing again, like, you know, okay, so you buy TV, you've got, you know, such and such channel, such and such channel, such and such channel, you know, like for those networks that have those things. Like, does that then make them more relevant, maybe? Because, you know, you pay the one fee and then you get
I guess
all that
that's
stuff.
the idea, is that, you know, if they have stuff people want, then they're more relevant.
Yeah, so I don't know what's
Which
gonna
I guess
happen
they
with that.
are, but I mean, I think in a lot of cases people will just kind of grumble and pay for it because they have to. But that doesn't mean they like your service. They only like what's on it.
Yeah, so like this whole like new thing where like companies are starting to, like I said, where Disney is going to be branching off on their own. Like it does make me like somewhat worried as to see what's going to happen with. What the heck is going on here?
Worried? I'm not worried. I've got my popcorn ready.
I wouldn't say worried, but like, again, I don't want to have to pay for like 50 million different subscription services just to watch what I want to watch.
I don't care about any of that because I don't watch any of that.
That's true.
So, I'm just going to sit back and watch the fireworks.
Well, but like I like having like on demand, like, you know, I can watch certain shows on Netflix, you know, anytime I want.
It's great.
So, anyway, well, you know what, like cable companies are starting to do now, like our cable company and like Mediacom and like Comcast do this. Like they have partnerships set up with like ESPN and like History and like Disney and stuff like that, where it's called like Watch TV Anywhere, where you can like use your like you sign up and stuff like that. And
You can basically have a streaming service included.
Yes, exactly. I love it. Like we have it for certain channels like the History Channel and like HGTV and other channels like that, so I can watch certain shows like on demand whenever I want. So it's kind of cool. But and I'm sure that's TV's way of trying to stay more relevant as well and keeping up with the times. So
Although I think eventually they're just going to disappear.
yeah, right. Okay.
It's just all going to be streaming services.
Yeah. Couple other things here. So you use Google Drive, but I doubt you use their. Did you know they have an app that you can download for your computer?
Yeah, and I only knew about that because I heard that it was going away.
Yep, it's going away March 12th, 2018. I guess they're going to be introducing like some new programs or something like that. So Drive File Stream and Let's see here. Basically, yeah, I think they're rolling out some new software and stuff like that. One's going to be for like more personal stuff, or like the personal user and stuff like that, and then one will be geared towards like the business side of things. So, but yeah, that's something that I saw is going on. Last thing, I know I jumped here. I guess KFC. Well, it's not KFC. It's K Pro, which is like they sell salads, juices, and paninis instead. Basically, they're like some like split off company like KFC. Anyway, in China, I guess they're now allowing people to pay by smiling.
Facial recognition, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's only available at a single KFC in China. The company behind the technology says its smile to pay technology needs about 1 or 2 seconds of facial scanning with a 3D camera and a liveness detection algorithm to check the identity of the person paying, and then they also must enter their mobile pay or like phone number. So it's like 2-step authentication kind of thing. But yeah. So I would imagine you like sign up with like some service and then you like upload a picture or whatever or something like that, and then it like goes back to the database, figures it out, and then like charges you. So anyway, so that's something that's interesting. So anyway, that's about all I have for this week. So yeah. Like I really feel like this week's show was just kind of like here's some random topics that are kind of sort of interesting, but not super interesting. So, anyway. Yeah, that's how I feel. It's kind of one of those weeks. Like, not a lot of exciting stuff happened in tech. So, it's been that way recently. Like, even last week, like, I felt like the stories were kind of like and everything. So, anyway. With that being said, I think it is time to end this episode of the Ram Show. So, we are going to do that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. That moment when I hit the hotkey button that I think is what it's actually supposed to be, and then it's something that it's totally different. So, yeah.
Oops.
Well, like, it doesn't matter because it doesn't go live right away. It just cues it in the preview monitor. But I thought that the key I was hitting was what I wanted, and then it totally pulled up another graphic that I'm like, oh wait, hang on. That's not the graphic that I want. So, anyway. So, but anyway, with all that being said, we are going to say goodbye this week. Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you enjoyed it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Get subscribed to the channel if you haven't done that already. Turn on the bell in the corner for notifications so you never miss a new video. And we'll see you next week right here on The Ram Show.